It's car con carne. Let's eat in the car. It's car con carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
Car con carne live from home. It's still quarantine con carne. Although I'm working on a plan to go back in a car and do something remote, but we're still weeks away from that. Maybe by July, I'll have that figured out. Anyway, Car con Carne, sponsored by Siren Records McHenry, now offering curbside pickup and online ordering. Check out their new website at sirenrecordsmchenry.com. If you're in a band, if you own a label, if you want to get your product in a store, message Siren Records on social or call the store. Siren Records McHenry, always looking to support local music, as am I. Car con Carne also sponsored tonight by C&H Financial Services. My guest tonight is Jason Klein. He is a co-owner of Spiteful Brewing, 2024 West Balmoral on Chicago's lovely north side. Hi, Jason.
How you doing?
Great. I wanted to take this time as people are starting to get out and do a little more. They're feeling a little more comfortable going out and getting things they like and bringing it back, whether it's food or beer. I wanted to focus on independent breweries, and I love your place. It's tucked in this kind of industrial corridor. There's a cool scooter shop around the corner. You've got your location. Starting from the beginning, I look at what you and your partner Brad have done as kind of the American dream. Two guys who like beer, who somehow found a way to make it into a business.
Yeah, no, thanks. It pretty much kind of started that way, right? I've known Brad since we were kids. We met playing hockey, actually on the pond in the northwest suburbs. And stayed friends throughout high school and college. And he was in Boulder, I was in Arizona, and wanted to do something together after we both moved back to the city at that point. And he knew he was never going to be behind a desk, and I certainly couldn't wait to get away from a desk. So we looked at what we could do together, and actually originally wanted to open up a bar, and we quickly determined that wasn't a great option in Chicago. They actually had a few of them. We had no idea what we were doing on the management side of the bar, right? I've spent plenty of seat time on a bar stool, but that doesn't really translate to business. So we kind of shifted, and we were passionate about beer. Brad, being at school at Boulder, introduced me to good beer because I was, I'm a Chicago kid. I was drinking Miller Lite like most of us, but not. See, I've already made the switch now, so we're good. But the lager, that's a personal favorite.
That's the gateway. That's the easy one. That's the crowd pleaser.
Yeah, exactly. But also, it's what we drink probably the most of at the brewery. So it's all encompassing. We figured out we had this passion for beer, and with craft beer kind of where it was, got almost 11 years ago when we started planning this. You could do it on a small budget. Like two of us did it in a 400 square foot unit in an industrial building up in Ravenswood. And that was possible. And that's what we did. It was low risk. We did it ourselves, and we kind of built it out from there. And 8 years later, we do have our new-ish spot up in the Bowmanville neighborhood. And it's great. We finally do have our bar, actually. We have a bar now, but we only serve beer, so it makes it pretty easy. And we've got our production in the back, and we still have our original brewery that was about, 400 square feet, right? So it's small. It fuels a lot of the beers on tap in the tap room. And then we have a newer, bigger brewery for stuff like what you're drinking, what I'm drinking.
So when you started 8 years ago, did you think, well, if this doesn't work, maybe we'll just blank? Because it's a kind of a crapshoot. You just don't know how it's going to pan out. Did you have a plan B, or was this just, we're going to make this work, come hell or high water, we're going to find a way?
It was a do or die attitude from the beginning. Failure was never an option we considered. Every business book in the world that you read will say you need to have an exit plan. You need to have if it doesn't work out, what are you going to do? But we didn't. It just isn't something we addressed. We didn't discuss it. And we just forged forward. Now, for us, being just two guys in a 400 square foot place, our rent was a parking space, right? It was $500 a month. So our overhead didn't exist, which made it a lot easier for us to learn and grow. And it's been a slow burn from two of us to now there's 10 of us. And and we make 10 times the amount of beer we did at our height in the smaller space, but we still make a relatively small amount of beer. I mean, our neighbors are half acre, and they make 10 times more beer than we make. So it's all relative, but for us, it was a way to kind of step forward and not think about the risk, because it was low. And if it didn't work, we didn't have too many. Sorry, the dog here is going crazy. Hey.
I like that you personally are dog friendly. I like that Spiteful is dog friendly.
Yes. Well, yeah, from the beginning. I mean, Brad used to bring his dog on a trailer to his bike, and I actually had I have a different one, but I had a Pomeranian that would ride in my backpack to work. So we've been dog friendly from the beginning, and they still, big part of like who we are.
You mentioned not wanting to open a bar because, yes, lots of bars in Chicago. That said, you mentioned half acre. There's certainly no shortage of craft breweries or brewers on the north side of Chicago. What's the competitive situation like?
There's no shortage now, but when we started, back in 2012 was when we delivered our first product. That didn't exist. The half acre was certainly there. Beguile was there, but that's it on the north side, really. Metro was a little bit further north than us, but they didn't have a tap room. But outside of that, you didn't have a whole lot. And so we were all kind of in it together, and it's still very much like that. Most of us are friends. We talk all the time. We do a lot of just bouncing ideas off each other, and it's not competitive in a traditional sense, at least not in the Chicago scene. So it actually makes it's a different dynamic than owning any other business, because you do have that camaraderie that you wouldn't normally have. I wouldn't think anyways, with like, if there was a bar down the street, I don't know, bars might be a little bit different too, but generally it's a very positive atmosphere around competitive spirit.
I swear to God, if we finish this interview and you don't hold the dog up, I'm going to hear about it afterwards. Can you hold the dog up to the camera?
This is Biscuit.
Yes, Biscuit. Oh, who's a good dog?
Not Biscuit, actually, usually, but he's all right.
Right. That's worth the price of admission for everyone watching on Facebook. For Ryan, Christopher, Rodney, Mark, Eddie, Tracy, Phil, Timmy, Len, Gina, Stephanie, Giorgio, thank you all for watching that. So I should have mentioned this from the get-go. If people want to just stop by, grab a 4-pack, 6-pack, do they have to order in advance, or can they just go right to the counter now?
No, you can order in advance. We do walk-ins. We're actually looking at getting open soon here. We're going to open up probably, before too long. We can't open up at capacity, obviously, but we're going to be welcoming people back sooner than later with some, the new phase 3 opening that our city has. It was a very busy weekend for folks, I think, and they're excited to get back. As long as we can do it safely and responsibly for not only our team, but the customers and everybody involved, then once we get to that point, we'll be ready to rock and roll. And yeah, it's walk-ins. We're open noon to 8 every day right now. And any way you want to do it.
One thing that's great about Chicago, and it's probably not unique to Chicago, but that ability to claim something as your own. Spiteful is in a neighborhood. I'm sure you have people who say, oh yeah, they're my ride or die brewery. Tell me about your clients. I'm sure customers. I'm sure you have regulars who just, their faces, their names. You have almost a congenial relationship with them.
We do. It's great. We always wanted to have the corner bar without the booze. That's kind of the atmosphere we're going for, because we can't sell the booze. But that, everybody's got a favorite corner bar that they go to. Everybody's a regular. At some point in your life, whether it was in school or out of school, or in your neighborhood, wherever it is. And that's what we wanted to provide, was a very friendly atmosphere where you could just kind of go and it's relaxed and you go at your own pace, and the people behind the bar. We've got a small team, but a very dedicated team. And that makes it, very consistent. We haven't really lost anybody other than for other opportunities. So our turnover is very different than a typical bar would be. And I think that adds to what we can provide for our customers. You see the same people. Many people work the same shifts, the same days. So it's almost like a very big open family, which is kind of the way we wanted it. So
I wanted to talk about some of your beers, and Brian Reinhardt, who just checked in, provided the segue. He says, I need some goddamn Pigeon Porter, which is the most Chicago named beer and label on your entire roster.
Absolutely. Yeah. That beer was one of the early ones from us. And it's Brad was a bike messenger when he moved back to the city, so that label was actually designed by one of his bike messaging friends, and she did a great job with that. And we've had a number of different messengers do different labels and other local artists. And that one just with the skyline and the pigeons and I mean, you don't even need to be a bike messenger to hate the pigeons downtown, right? I mean, they're a menace. So that's kind of where that name comes from. It's those goddamn pigeons are always in the way. So that's very much it's funny. We really wanted the brewery name to be Chicago. We have a notebook full of names, and actually, it's funny. Some of them are real breweries now that we didn't end up going with because it just didn't feel like us enough. And spiteful, that Brad and I are kind of spiteful people. Really, we're nice, but we tend to take it a little further than the next, and that really comes from our group of friends. We were all kind of ball breakers, so that was always kind of us. And the way we incorporate Chicago is more through our beer names and our labels and other things like that. So we are very Chicago, but it's kind of come out in its own way.
See, I've been very polite. I'm trying not to cross you in any way just because I fear the spitefulness.
It can happen. It does happen. But in general, very nice guys.
Let's talk about some of the beers. Past couple days, it is clearly summer. The sun is out, blue sky. It's been hot. What should we be drinking in weather like this? Is it Bleacher Bum Blonde?
Bleacher Bum Blonde's a new beer for us, actually. That one is that's a great summertime beer. It was supposed to coincide with baseball season, but that may not happen. But it's a really nice, approachable blonde ale with just enough peach in there to give it another depth of flavor, but without being like a very fruity beer, if that makes any sense. The number one beer for us in the summer is what you're drinking, the lager. That is by far the best selling beer in our tap room, pretty much year round, but especially in the summer. It's a nice 4.7% ABV, so you can have more than one. It's perfect for the backyard. We have a Radler, which a lot of Chicago people are familiar with, the Stiegel Radler. You can't mistake those cans when it's summertime around here. We made our own version of that. So we do it with tangerine. We make the tangerine soda in-house and blend it with the lager, actually.
Awesome.
And it's 2.7%, just like Stiegel's, and it's not sweet because we don't add any sugar to our soda, but that's a great summertime beer. And then what I'm actually having is what I've been having the most of. It's kind of a combination dad/summer beer because it's low ABV but also refreshing, and it's our 4% like kind of a light IPA. It's called Instigator, and it's our session IPA that comes in. It's low cal, but we didn't design it to be low cal. It was more of a product of lower ABV, and we still wanted to have a lot of flavor. So those are probably our best summer beers right now.
Yeah, and you can't pound working for the weekend.
No, I've tried. It's a bad idea at 8% almost. Yeah, a couple 4-pack of that, and you're walking a different way. So we needed something else in the arsenal to to have a few more in one time.
So I think the moral to the story, Jason, is people just need to go to Spiteful Brewing, 2024 West Balmoral, get some beer, try a bunch.
Get some beer. We'll be, like I said, we'll be open soon. We're gonna have some food options because that's the only way you're allowed to open right now. And we actually do have a food license, so we're looking to do some brats. Real simple.
Oh yeah.
But brats and beer. What else could you really ask for? Some big open windows and. Yeah, we're ready. Those taps they're lonely. They want to start filling glasses.
Absolutely.
But I will say we've had beyond amazing support, and never in a million years would I have put money on the support that we've gotten. Just in general, when this whole thing started, it was doom and gloom, and we have been very humbled by the support and the love and the people that keep coming back. You've mentioned our regulars. There are people that come every week for beer, and we thank everyone that has done that. And I know that it's not just for us, and people are doing that all over the city, and it's really great. It's what makes Chicago special is that we take care of our own, and we've certainly seen and felt that recently.
And what you said is so true. During this stay at home, the months at home for the pandemic, the mantra for so many of us was, if we're going to buy X, Y, or Z, let's do it from someone local, someone independent, someone from the community. Let's not go to a chain. Let's make sure we support Spiteful. Let's make sure we go to restaurant XYZ, because we know when this whole thing ends, we want these people in our lives. We want to be able to sustain them throughout. And I'm glad that you were seeing that at Spiteful.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, it's been tremendous actually. So
All right, I'm going to kill the Facebook Live. Thanks to recent joiners, Nick and Chris and Gail. Thank you all so much for watching. And
thank you guys.
thank you. That was fun. Thank you for doing that.
No, that was great. Yeah,
Told
that
you.
was my first time on the Facebook Live. So
As long as you don't think about it, it's easy.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I just kind of put it out of my mind, and I had enough time keeping this thing quiet. So
Yeah, it's just a conversation. Just people are eavesdropping on it.
yeah, no, and actually, you make it easy with transition, so that's a big help. So
Thank you.
appreciate that.
So I'm going to turn this into a podcast episode shortly, and I'll put this on YouTube as well. And
Great.
it'll be up later tonight. I'll email you with a bunch of links. And
Yeah, we'll get them up.
Awesome.
I don't do that because I'm terrible at it, but which is why we did.
Have someone who is good at it. That's all that matters.
We
No
do.
excuses. Yeah.
Well, that's what we figured out early on. Brad and I know what we can and can't do, and so you fill the holes, right? And
Absolutely.
that's what you got to do.
Awesome. All right. I will email you with that stuff. I'm going to let you be a dad. Very nice to meet you. And I hope to see you at your place sooner than later.
Yeah, let me know. I'd love to show you the back and take you around. So let me know if you're going to be there.
I'll totally nerd out. Yep.
Perfect.
Talk to you
Thanks,
soon.
I appreciate it.
Bye.